Where are you again? Eqqo shouted into the void. You may be pretentious and annoying and heavy, but don't count on me leaving you here. There you are, said Eqqo, relieved. Still silent? I don't know what's going on with you, but playing the egg is not a solution, even for a big egg. And you're much more than that. The egg was getting away, and my son had never liked water, especially. I let myself sail alongside my hero. This story had never had but one captain, and he didn't need me to hold his hand anymore. A blind pilgrim, a cracked egg, a weaver whose story was making up its own rules. Strange things had been stranded on this beach, but the storm was over. A star of pure light. Light was Issa's hidden sap. Its rays activated its most ancient mechanisms. Half drowned, the Enkalal just sat there, making tiny bubbles. You're in one piece! Eqqo was so relieved. The Enkalal yawned. Oh, what a strange dream. The Enkalal said, Eqqo, you have lit my path with unexpected courage. It is my turn to light yours. Let me give you the light of Issa. The Enkalal declared, the child has become a sage. The sage has touched the temple's heart. I receive the light of Issa. And like two stars illuminate each other when one of them wavers, Eqqo and the Enkalal had returned light to the temple. It was their guide, and mine, because it had always been the one true thread of my story. Issa's caves, finally, said the Enkalal. But I thought we were going to heaven, said Eqqo. What goes up always ends up coming down again, replied the egg. Especially a child who's afraid of heights. Ancient voices still resonate in these galleries, said Eqqo. They were expecting us. From Eqqo's heart, the temple was collecting the energy that connected him to the egg. A forgotten warmth was traveling through its long sleeping stones. Carved thousands of years ago, the egg from the fresco was still waiting for Eve. In order to activate, the beam needed to reach its goal. A goal perhaps faded by time. You were a sun in a world of shadows, and a star never shines on only one person. I should have set you free to leave. I should have come with you. Your light became even more necessary as the shadows proliferated, outside and in here, ready to still the source of all life. I wanted to keep you by my side, Eqqo, because you were the only light in the shadow of my workshop. truth, Eqqo. I had lived the world through you. I needed to start living as well. Eqqo, the bell ringer! Screamed the egg, and Eqqo's heart stopped. Eqqo, be careful! No! No! The bell ringer said to the Enkalal, "You're the last of your kind. Only you have the power to fill the beast. But if I eat you and my hunger remains, what will I have left?" You two, you have each other. I needed to own everything because I had lost everything. And yet, I lost only one thing, the most precious. Take the egg away from me, little one. I must exist no more. The bell ringer's voice trembled. I'm empty. Emptiness knows nothing but destruction. Still, I can help you, and for this, I must die. I'd like to know the light one last time. Mesa's light killed the bell ringer, but saved the one thing that still made him a human being. His soul. His love. I had fashioned the bell ringer out of fear. The fear of being left alone. Guilty of having lost my only son. I'm not afraid anymore, Eqqo. I've done all I could, but I couldn't do everything. I'm just asking you to forgive me. The night sky is the mother of stars, the rain, the mother of streams, said the Enkalal. Here is the mother tree, pilgrim, Zaf Enat, the childminder of the world. Since the first monks from the era of Tia, no one has ever come here. The air was filled with the mother tree's perfume. I recognized the scent of my mother, said the egg. It is the same scent as my mother's, replied Eqqo. "11 years ago, on the day of his birth, began Eqqo's true story. Now, he was sailing towards this end that I feared so much, but that I owed him. Something had changed. Eqqo was still a child, yes, but he was feeling more whole. This was a nice journey, he said with a smile. It's only the beginning, answered the egg. Your heart is worth 1,000 eyes, Eqqo, said the Enkalal. The pilgrim must know not to look to be able to see. This door was the last one for the pilgrim. Something was blocking Eqqo from opening it, and that something was me. Children are magic. You can watch them, but it's when you look away that they grow up suddenly. Since the beginning of this story, I had never lost sight of Eqqo, but the time had come to trust him. Here lay the immortal soul of Isa, its weak heart forgotten by men. But sometimes it takes so little. It takes a child. The Enkelal said, "When the time comes, a human being remembers their first form and gives life back to life." Fractured by the journey, the Enkelal's shell finally cracked, revealing its truth. The egg was but an empty envelope the child had filled with hope. But where there seems to be only emptiness, if hope isn't where you think it should be, it's possible to bring it there, to encourage it to grow. And let magic take its course, because hope knows its place. That's its strength. That's the reason why you should trust it. Why I needed to trust it. And then your role is to accept it completely, fully. That hope was born for a good reason, and that the end of a story is always an act of love, because it carries the spark of another one. No, it wasn't just a tale. Eqqo's true story was that of such a love for life that he wanted to give back what it gave him during his short existence. The crazy desire to see it grow and flower. I left the fresco of my son's legend and departed, feeling under my feet on the bare earth the sensation of his beating heart. That same rhythm of childhood that invited all the people in the land to visit him, reminding them that love is a promise given to the most fragile of things, that one day it will be strong enough to love in return. Years had passed. The fertile valley made people happy. One day, the serpent god returned from his long journey to the depths of the sky. The monks bowed to him on their knees as the serpent wrapped his rings around the tree. Something here was going to start again. A long time ago, in a peaceful valley on a spring evening, a star descended from the sky, and from the sky to the mountains, and from the mountains to the ground, whose grass was too dry. It slipped like the murmur of a mother in the ear of her child. The star found a cave, and the darkness of this cave welcomed the star that brought it light. It came to rest on a small cushion of moss that seemed to be waiting for nothing but it. Something here was about to start. The star became a seed, and the seed a shrub. But this child tree had something more. All of nature came to pay homage to the newcomer. In front of the little king, there was soon a court of fascinated animals. But the tree was only a beginning, because this tree was actually a throne, the throne of a god, Amlak Ebab, the serpent god, newly arrived from heaven. His scales were full of miracles picked up along his journey. It was his gift for the young earth. In a village not far away, Tia, a young child from the weaver's tribe, whose mother was the chief, was saddened by the poor state of the crops. The ground was dry. "The earth is dying," said her mother. "It means that somewhere men have begun to despise her." Their vegetable gardens were almost bare, so Tia went out to gather. Would the great valley really stop feeding men? Venturing into a cave, she came upon an incredible sight. An unparalleled animal, a sumptuous serpent, a god taking flight. The tree bore fruit with strange patterns, fruit that gave you courage, and whose taste was so delicious it gave the impression of biting into the velvet of the sky. She ran to the village. Her feet were so light she felt she was flying. Tia's mother wove tapestries that spoke of old legends. One of them told of Hewatzaf, the mother tree, and its sacred egg, the Enkolal. "They are gods," said the mother, "and from now on we will watch over them as they watch over us." Facing the egg, Tia felt something deep in her belly. It seemed like love. The villagers laid the first stones of a temple at the entrance of the grotto. It was a majestic entrance, an entrance that informed the serpent god that this land was his. It was there to remind everyone that a people who forget that the earth is sacred deserve the misfortunes that overwhelm them. Tia grew up, and with her, her love for the egg of life. Her mother gave her her blessing that she might become a monk of the temple of Isa. She vowed to protect the Hewatzaf and the Enkolal. They belonged to no one and fed everyone. Things had to stay that way. Years had passed. The fertile valley made people happy. One day, the serpent god returned from his long journey to the depths of the sky. The monks bowed to him on their knees as the serpent wrapped his rings around the tree. Something here was going to start again. A new egg, a new enkalal. The serpent invited Tia to receive it in her arms. The serpent invited Tia to receive it in her arms. The Amlak Ebab smelled like 1,000 incenses, a fragrance from the depths of time that made her dizzy. A few steps away, Oran was watching the scene in the silence of his bells. He did not smile. Everyone knows an egg is one of the most fragile things on earth. It was therefore forbidden for the monks to touch the sacred egg. But Oran kept getting closer to the enkalal until one day he tried to steal it right from under Tia's gaze. That day, there was no laughter in the temple of Isa. There was a great evil in Oran's mind. The monks decided he must leave because this evil endangered the enkalal. Tia said, "The music of your bells has darkened Oran. Do not return until this wound in you has healed." Oran returned to the very spot where the shadow that he carried inside him lay. It was the grave of his wife, who had left him the year before. At the burial, the hole where the body of his wife was laid was closed, but no one had thought of closing the one that had opened in his heart. Following an ancestral custom, the bells of the deceased and the bells of the widower harmonized to play music that would soothe bereavement. But Oran, who always wore his bells, refused to forget. And when he took the bells from her tomb to add them to his, he welcomed the emptiness, since it was all he had left of her. Absence is a cruel demon. It had twisted Oran's face into a grimace of pain. The bells, which now grew on his body like warts, sounded relentlessly, reminding him at every step that he was walking alone. So he tried to fill his loneliness by devouring, looting, and pillaging. His hunger, however, like his emptiness, was infinite. Pain had made Oran strong and cruel. To find something to satisfy his permanent hunger, he needed recruits. They called him the... Pain had made Oran strong and cruel. To find something to satisfy his permanent hunger, he needed recruits. They called him the bell ringer. His bells drew to him broken souls like his own, and these souls became his army. Soon, the power he had over people became his new poison, and Oran had a plan. Life often brings us back to where we left off, but it brings us back transformed. Oran returned to the temple of Isa with the face of a monster. He drove out the monks, his old companions, and forbade them ever to return. The temple was now his. No one now stood between him and the object of his quest. Oran rushed through the halls of the temple where he had spent so many years. He no longer felt their sacred power. It was but a path that was leading him to the only thing he thought could finally fill his hunger, his pain, his loneliness. He wanted to devour the Enkalal, but the sacred egg was gone, so the ringer screamed. Alerted by the bells of the ringer, Tia had recognized Oran and fled with the Enkalal. The furious chimes of the ringer made the young woman tremble. He might have devoured the egg had she not fled. The madness of one being might have brought back drought and desolation to the valley. The temple was now empty, haunted by the threats of the ringer who had sworn he would roam the place, waiting for the egg. "I will kill anyone who crosses my path," he promised. Patiently and carefully, Tia waited for the return of the serpent god to give the Enkalal back to him. Moved by Tia's devotion, the god then gave her a gift. Tia's belly was full of a miracle that was soon to come. She did not know where the serpent god was or what had become of the egg. But she had a dream, and from that dream she wove a tapestry. It was a vision of the future. A vision that said that, whatever the harm done by men, life always finds a seed to make it grow.